All right, so I'm going to mute everybody, and then I'm going to unmute you, Alan. Hold on just a second. All right, Alan, you there?
Yep, right here.
Okay. All right, welcome everybody to this week's edition of the 10X Business Owners Mastermind Group Call. My name is John Pyron. I'm your host. I have on here a co-host with me today, a guy named Alan Reeves. So Alan owns a company called Mouse Calls Technology out of Nashville, Tennessee. And Alan, why don't you take a quick moment and tell us a little bit about yourself and, what is it that drives you and what's passionate for you?
Thank you, John. Thank you for the introduction. Hello, everybody. Again, my name is Alan Reeves. I have had a company called Mouse Calls Technology Solutions based out of Nashville since February of 1998. Over that time, we've serviced about 9,000 different entities in the Nashville area, from statewide for-profit companies and nonprofits all the way down to little old ladies retired in condominiums. We've covered it all. And right around, I guess 2009, 2010, we began a real focus on data protection because IT had ceased to be a novelty. It is a utility. You cannot do business without it. And we wanted to make sure that people were prioritizing things properly. We noticed a lot of small businesses that were treating their IT as an afterthought. And when the awful Nashville flood happened in 2010, we saw dozens of businesses that lost data unnecessarily. The timing for this call is quite extraordinary because today, right now at this moment, in another room in this office, I have a server from a healthcare company that I proposed some solutions to in December. They didn't do any of those things. They decided they were too expensive or they just needed to prioritize a little bit differently. Long story short, an unknown party got in through their remote desktop and got into all their patient records. And the server is infected. I'm trying to figure out how deep the damage is, but this is a reportable HIPAA compliance breach, and it may very well put this company out of business. And so my passion, my reason for being here is to secure data, whether you are a one-person work-from-home show or a 50-person for-profit entity, and make sure that kind of thing never happens to your company. That's my passion.
Awesome. So the reason Alan's on the call here today is Alan has graciously volunteered. I've been working with Alan and his company now for going on 4 years. So we've been together for a little over 3 and had a lot of really good successes along the way. And so because this 10X Business Owners Mastermind Group call and the whole program is really designed for a business that's in startup mode all the way up to $253,000-$400,000 a year in revenue. That's what this program is designed. So starting on May 1, we talked about sales being what we're going to talk about on week 1, marketing on week 2, technology on week 3, and operations will be next week. And so Alan we're doing some joint ventures with Mouse Calls out of Tennessee. Alan's entire company is focused on the exact same space that this program is focused on. So he's going to come every month with some great technology tips and ideas on, as a small business owner, whether you're a startup or whether you have 5 or 10 employees, what are some of the things that you need to really make sure that you do to protect your data, to protect your information, different types of technology that you can implement and take advantage of that won't break the bank, but as a solo entrepreneur or somebody that has 5, 10 employees, what are the things that you need to make sure that you do? So I'm kind of lead the conversation here, Alan.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the basics, right, the basics of technology, what are some of the things that a small business owner needs to absolutely make sure that they have set up on their computer to protect everything. Okay, so what would you say to that?
Well, right off the bat, one thing that Mouse Calls makes a practice of that many other IT companies do not, even larger end IT companies, is if we support a device, we back it up, no matter what. It might be a workstation that runs the lights in the janitor's closet. Guess what? It's getting backed up. And there were several things that came into play that taught us that. I go back to the flood again, but when you have startups that are on fixed costs or they have a very restricted budget, and I've worked with nonprofits plenty of nonprofits that have X amount of dollars and cash flow goes in waves. The go-to thinking is, well, I need to be secure. So I need antivirus before anything. Okay, well, let's say you go that route. You spend, I don't know, $60 on a garbage package like Norton or McAfee from Staples or Best Buy, and you install it on your computer, and then you leave that computer at Starbucks. Well, what good is that antivirus doing you now? If you had offsite backup, then you can move on beyond that bonehead move and your data's okay. If you have antivirus that is weak, and most of it is, by the way, little kept secret, if you click on something wrong and the antivirus gets bypassed and your computer gets ransomware and you don't have backup, guess what? You're in a data loss situation again. So the cornerstone of any IT, in my opinion, regardless of what scale it's on, is having backup across all devices so that there's no guesswork. There's no guesswork whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. So let's just take the solopreneur. Let's start there, right?
Mm-hmm.
One-man person, they got a laptop or a workstation at home, right?
Yep.
Aside from contacting you, obviously, and having you take care of their backup, what are some good backup technologies that you would recommend?
Well, from the mouse call standpoint, to be frank, we don't recommend anything that we can't monitor. We have people all the time, probably on a daily basis, that ask us, well, what do you recommend for antivirus? What do you recommend for backup? And the only answer that I have is us, because it's, we become your one throat to choke or one neck to hug, depending on the situation. If you don't know 100% that the data that's being backed up is truly restorable, or that the software is working right, regardless of what the software is telling you on your screen, then in my opinion, that's not truly backup. You don't know. Mm-hmm. We had a client that had a server crash back in March. Not a client, but a prospect, actually. We didn't have our backup on there. He was using Carbonite. Carbonite markets their solution extraordinarily well, particularly on talk radio around the country. And because Carbonite did not do its job properly, he had a 40% data loss after the restoration. There was a lot of very important data that just was not there. And Carbonite does not tell you that you're not holding them liable should that happen. Another thing that that's absolutely probably even more critical than that is Microsoft products, Office 365, Google Drive. If anybody wants to message you, John, after the show, I can send you this verbiage exactly. There is language in the Microsoft Office 365 terms of service that basically says, if you're using OneDrive, we are not responsible for your data. And we highly recommend that you contract with a third party to back up your OneDrive data. People can't believe that.
What?
I'm gonna find that right now. People are stunned when they hear that, because they think, well, wait a minute, that's what I'm paying for. Microsoft
Yeah.
Microsoft OneDrive isn't that backup. No, it's not backup. It's synchronization. And again, there's actually a couple of sentences there where Microsoft makes it very, very clear that we're responsible. What they say is we're responsible for our servers. We're responsible for the data centers. We're responsible for the hardware. But if you are storing data on our infrastructure, you need to get with a third party to back it up. So people, many times startups come to, and I'm guilty of this, by the way, in other facets other than IT, startups come to get going and they're on a shoestring budget and they approach their technology with a consumer mindset. Oh, I'm going to go buy a computer from Best Buy and I'm good to go. Or I'm going to, I've heard about McAfee antivirus, so it must be good. If you are not offended easily and want some good entertainment, search YouTube for how to uninstall McAfee antivirus by the founder of McAfee, John McAfee. I will warn you, it is not suitable for work. It is full of gross profanity and a lot more, but it's also very, very, very funny. So, you want to, no matter what stage of the game you're in, if you're a business, you need to act like it. You need to manage your money that way. You need to manage your IT that way. I don't know how many times I've said, there's a reason that companies have IT departments, because it's required. If a company ran their IT like a lot of startups did, they wouldn't be a company anymore. Because you can't have the brother-in-law come in and do it. You can't have Chuck in a truck come in and do it. And
Chuck in a truck.
and you've got to know these things too. I had a meeting with a prospect today, and he's getting ready to open his office. In fact, I was there to do a site survey of the build out. He's a plastic surgeon, and I informed him, and he was extraordinarily grateful. And I think I earned his business on the spot, because right now he had a Gmail address set up for his practice. Well, guess what? If you send email, or if somebody sends you an email to a Gmail address, in Google's licensing, they say we have the right to have our bots scour through this email so we can direct targeted advertising to you. It's free email. That's a HIPAA violation, because it's unencrypted email and there's a third party reading it. So if they put that out there in their printed materials or on their social media, and somebody, a patient says, hey, I need to get with you on June 15th about that brow lift. Guess what? That's protected information. And if it's going through Gmail.
Let me ask you a question real quick, because we kind of hit on a couple of things.
Sure, go.
So for those of you that want to connect with Mouse Calls in any way, shape, or form, it's mousecallsonline.com, all one word, mousecalls with an S, online.com, okay? Because you guys have a really good solid backup. But the thing I took away from the backup is whether they engage with mouse calls or not, right? Whatever you do when it comes to backup, it needs to be a backup solution that not only works, right, but that you can actually verify that the backup has been done correctly. And more importantly, you can verify that data can be restored and it can be monitored. So whatever backup solution you're doing in your small business, you need to make sure it has that criteria, okay? That's number one. That's what I kind of got out of the backup. As far as HIPAA violation, so let's talk about this for a second. So we got HIPAA, which has to do with medical, but also for those of you that are not aware as a business owner, if you have employees, you're now under certain HIPAA regulations yourself because you have confidential information about your employee, okay? And if you're dealing with any insurance companies, wealth management companies, any of those types of things, you're under what's called FINRA and SIPC. So you have to be able to protect your data. It can't be out there on a public domain. But one thing that you brought up that I was unaware of is, I knew Gmail was free, but the bigger question is a lot of these small businesses, well, like in my case, I have my domain, johnpyron.com, okay? I use Google Business, right? For
Yeah.
all my, that's where I have my MX record, my mail exchange record is hosted on Google. Okay.
Mhm.
So they don't have the same access because it's a paid for deal, right? Versus just a straight Gmail.
The terms of service are a bit different. They are a bit different.
Okay.
Now, Google on the business side, they will make you jump through absolute hoops, and they will sign, if you meet those, if you jump through all those hoops, they will sign a business associates agreement with you. But the consumer Gmail, where it's not your domain, you're using a @gmail.com address,
Yeah.
is not HIPAA compliant at all. And
Wow.
I'll tell you what I've noticed is it's starting to kind of get out there, because there are some states where the state attorneys general have been tasked or financially incentivized by the federal government to help them with HIPAA oversight. So there are people out there on the periphery that may be looking for a mom and pop healthcare practice, whether it be a dentist or an eye doctor, or just somebody that's got a little setup in a strip mall, that's using a Comcast or Charter or Cox or Gmail or AT&T address for their healthcare practice. And if somebody can find one of those business cards, really all they have to do to start a whistleblower process is grab a business card and then go to the Office of Civil Rights website and report it as a potential breach.
Wow. So for those of you that are going to listen to the recording, this is going to be kind of the topic of today's call. We're talking about data protection, which has to do with backup, right? Has to do with how do you protect your data from being hacked by somebody else. So I'm a small business owner, and I have maybe myself, or like in my case, I have a couple of employees that have laptops. How do I make sure, what kind of protection should I be putting on the system, aside from calling you, obviously, right? Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of protection should I be putting on there to from a security standpoint, right?
Right. Well, I'll tell you what you should do, because it's what we do. And whether you work with us or anybody else, these are some just quick best practice rules. Number one is encrypt the hard drives. The HIPAA law states that if you have a laptop with patient information on it, and by the way, if you're running everything from the cloud, don't think that you're set, because you're not. And I can go into that a whole other time. But encrypt the hard drive. The law says that if you were to leave a laptop like that at Starbucks, then that is a reportable breach if the hard drive is not encrypted. And that fine could be $50,000 per patient record that's on that laptop at the end of the day. However, if the laptop's drive is encrypted, which is very easily done, then you don't even have to report it. That encryption makes such a big difference with the law that as long as you have that done, they don't care. At that point, you're good. But taking that to another level, we put something called geofencing on laptops.
Called what?
Geofencing. Geofencing, yes.
Okay.
And basically what that is let's say you've got a small doctor's office, small healthcare practice, and one of your employees decides, after you've gone home on Friday, one of the employees decides that they're going to borrow one of the laptops for the week so that Junior can play on Steam or online with it. Geofencing is where if you take the laptop or any other device off premise, it ceases to work. If it is not confined to within its area that we define, if it goes outside of that, it loses connectivity and will not function as a laptop. So you lock down you kind of think about it as iPhone, or Find My iPhone on steroids. We can keep it to where it only works within the dedicated area where it's supposed to be. So that's number two. Number three are good password management policies. That and by the way, I'm not talking about length of the password or special characters. If you've been away from the screen for 60 seconds, then that device needs to go back to the login screen. It is annoying and it's a pain, and it's also way more secure than having that screen just up and at them for 5-10 minutes while you run to the restroom and somebody can look over your shoulder and see whatever it is that's displayed there.
Yeah.
Those are some basics.
And this has to do with a lot of medical, financial, insurance companies. It's required, right?
Yep.
But for the average Chuck in a truck, right?
Right.
Average Joe, right? Okay. That is looking to back up their data. One thing that they can do is either come to you or do their own research online, find a backup solution online, but they need to make sure that it can be managed, okay, that it's being tested and monitored, that it can actually be restored, and that it's backing up all the data on the computer, not just certain folders, right? So, and then when it comes to security, making sure you have a good password policy, meaning change your password every 90 days, make sure it's a strong password, and, make sure that if you're using Gmail, right, understand that if you're in medical, if you're in insurance, if you're in wealth management or anything like that, it's pretty much a violation of what you're supposed to be doing, and there's some solutions that you can do.
That's correct.
Key takeaway for today's call is this: back up your data, back up your data, back up your data. Okay?
Amen.
Don't be one of those victims. It's like a client of mine, right? They had a guy that owned one of the 4-point Sheratons. Okay. Well, he since sold that business, and he had his own personal laptop, and it needed to have its hard drive replaced. Well, he wouldn't take the advice, and he wouldn't take the advice of backup, and then ultimately the hard drive failed. Okay, this is like something that happened in the last 3 months. Ultimately, the hard drive failed, and he lost like 7 years worth of family photos.
Yeah,
he didn't care about the business data, right? But he lost 7 years of family photos that can never be created. It can never be redone. And so Alan and I can sit here and go, because I've owned 4 different IT companies, and Alan's been in business forever, and we can go over story after story after story after story of data loss, and people, I'm going to put it off, I'm going to put it off, I'm going to put it off. Okay. But here would be my recommendation, whether you're on the live call or listening to the recording. At least get a hold of Mouse Calls Online. Okay, go to mousecallsonline.com. 3 years ago, we designed 3 different packages specifically for small business owners that are perfect for the people that are in this program. Okay, so that's where you would start. The other option is to do your own research. Okay, and find a backup solution. Or just reach out to Ellen and just have a conversation. Okay. But that's what we're going to talk. That's all the time we have for today's topic is backup. And we're giving you exactly what you need to do and verify and make sure that your data is backed up. Okay. Because backup only matters when you need it. Right.
That's it.
So
you don't need
backup is like buying homeowners insurance. It's like buying medical insurance. It's like buying, life insurance, car insurance. You can't get into the accident or get injured or, and then go, okay, now I need insurance, right? It doesn't work that way, right? Because I don't know about you. I absolutely hate paying insurance premiums. But it's a requirement, right? So, and then when you need it, all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this is where I'm so glad I had it, right? Well, the same thing with backup. Take backup serious. Make sure that you got it done. If you need Alan's team to help out in any way, shape, or form, get a hold of his team. Alan's going to be a permanent fixture here in the 10X Business Owners Mastermind group. He's been a client of mine for years. His company is laser focused on all of you guys, okay? in your technology. So feel free to reach out to Alan at any time with any questions about technology. He's here to help, and his company does a great job. So thanks for being here, man. I'm going to actually mute you and stay on the call, though, because I want to give you some business coaching as well. I'm going to mute you, and then I'm going to unmute Dan and see if Dan's got any. Actually, let me unmute Dan real quick. Dan, do you have any questions for Alan on this topic of technology before I get to what how I can coach you in your business today?
No, it's actually funny because I've been in IT for years. I was in a company in the Bay Area when we made the first Cisco iOS simulation, and then here a few years ago I had a computer repair business, and I cannot tell you the amount of times people would bring their computer in or their laptop in and with big puddles of tears in their eyes saying they lost their stuff. And yeah, so I feel that pain.
Oh yeah. I had somebody faint in front of me once. Yeah. It's about the worst feeling in the world, I think.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So, all right, let me put you on mute real quick, Alan. And so Dan, so for today's call, how can I best help you, man?
I don't have anything today just because like last week was just, I think I told you I was out a lot, and then I'm just kind of getting caught up on projects. So I'm working currently on my business plan, but I'm not at a point where I can ask for help on that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're going through the one-page plan stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right, cool. And then you and I will have some time scheduled, I think, either this week or next week.
It's Friday. I think this Friday.
Yeah. So if you can, if you can get 2 strategies and action plans, go for it. But if not, if you can just do your vision statement, mission statement, and the objectives you want to hit by the end of the year, no more than 9, then we can spend some time finalizing the strategies and the actual plans. Okay. Cool deal. All right, let me put you on mute real quick, and let me unmute Alan. Alan, how can I best help you today, man?
Well, I think you just did. I thank you much for the time. And just to reiterate, I'm at everybody's disposal. Basically, John, tomorrow we're doing a soft launch for our new offering, CyberWatch. And I ideally, by the end of today or very early tomorrow morning, the web team will have the final iteration of that up and running, at which point I'll want to go to my favorite focus group, which is John Pyron, and get your honest feedback from it. Also, I would highly encourage you to go through the sign-up process, and I want you to just put it through its paces and tell me where you find shortcomings or maybe things that are unclear as far as the sign-up process or the website. Just want to get your true feedback on how we can make the experience better as we get people signed up. And we're going to be starting the process of making some calls to our existing client base. Like you said, the VIPs first, the people that are on plans, the clients, the businesses that are on plans, and then going from there with more campaigns going through the summer. We had a marvelous conversation on Saturday, extended conversation, which was humbling and beneficial to me. I know there's a bit of homework that I need to do. I did get Profit First through Audible, so I'm going to start listening to that tomorrow morning, and I've got to get the rest of my revised one-page plan together as well. So really, I've got direction. Just may need a little bit of your assistance in getting there.
Okay. So let me do this. Let me share my screen real quick. I got some questions for you before you launch. Let me this. All right. So on your site, where do I find CyberWatch?
It's not linked here. Go to cyberwatch.tech.
Okay.
And what you're viewing right now is not the completed version, but it's good enough to take a look.
CyberWatch.tech.
.tech. T-E-C-H.
T-E-C-H.
Yep.
Okay.
There you have it.
Okay. So are you going to do a link off of Mouse Calls Online?
We are. At the same time, I'm not utilizing the web developer that did the existing site any longer, and I've got another person building out a brand new version of it. So we're going to have that done there. But if you would, you can, you see what's going here, and there's going to be a couple of more pages listed at the top. Ideally, again, by the end of the day.
Okay. So this web form right here.
Yeah.
Is that going into a database?
That is going into a database, yes.
What's the database you guys are using?
Oh, it's just a back end. When we get the form, where Julie is entering it into our CRM. It's manual right now.
Okay. All right. So do you have like a constant contact or a MailChimp or anything like that?
Yeah, we got MailChimp.
So I would, after the soft launch, I would have somebody put MailChimp's form on here. Okay. So kind of some coaching here is I would have somebody put MailChimp's form on here.
Okay.
And then in MailChimp, you can create some rules and some autoresponders that can send them back an email, can send them back a place to book an appointment. If they don't respond, can put them into your marketing funnel, right? So you'll want to have the MailChimp thing here, and it'll be an opt-in. Okay, so they can opt in not just to get information on this, but now they're going to opt into your email list. That's a no-brainer. Okay. I'll get that. Yeah, I'll get that. Yeah, and then with this logo, right? What I would do with the logo is go up on LinkedIn, what do you call it? Facebook, right? And I would put it up there and say, hey, what do you guys think about this logo? And here's the site to see. What I'm looking for is feedback on the logo as compared to the offering.
Okay.
Right? Because what will happen is they'll actually click on the link and go to the site, and then the site will, they'll read through the site, and they might even opt in at that point.
Right.
Okay, because you're asking them feedback on the logo. Okay.
Okay.
And then you can run some Google ads with it. Again, the lowest hanging fruit is going to be the 300-400 clients that you have on the VIP plans.
Right.
And hammering that out, and then we should talk about after the soft launch an affiliate program.
Yeah, that was part of the long view of this exact project.
Yeah. So cool deal. All right, man. Anything else I can help you out with today?
No, thank you very much, John.
Okay. All right, let me unmute everybody. All right, well, it's been a great call. Any feedback? Anybody? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I just want to ask Alan something. Have you ever used Podio?
No, I've heard of it, and I couldn't tell you what it was right now, but I've heard of it. That's about it.
Okay. I use it a lot as just for storing certain project information. I don't use it as much for that anymore, but it does do. They do web forms that then go right into the Podio database, and those databases can be exported out. So it's just something to look at. They were acquired by Citrix here 3 years ago or so.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'll take a look at it.
And it's free, so there's that. Or not free. I think it's like $10. I don't know. It's cheap.
Okay.
So Podio is Podeo.
No, Podio is Podio.
Podio. Okay, cool. And then since we're talking technology, right? So why don't you, Dan, share, because you got a really unique offering for small businesses as far as web design, maintenance, that sort of thing. So since we're talking about technology, can you share how they get a hold of you, and then kind of a little blurb about that program? Because I think it's priced perfectly for the small business startup and that sort of thing.
Sure. So my company is called Red Hot Media Productions. So you can always go to redhotmediaproductions.com or call 530-222-9898. The program is called BizSites, and I'm branding that separately because at some point that'll branch off my main company. But the BizSites program is geared towards small business. It has a very low barrier entry cost. It's $549 setup fee, and then an ongoing $49 a month maintenance fee, which includes any updates that the customer might want. I try to keep people out of their own websites because they tend to break them. I've been very good about turning things over. The policy is 24 hours, but normally a lot of things are done within the hour. I get the information from the client. And they also get a new revised website, a whole new, brand new website every 2 years if they want. The site, the maintenance program includes all the firewalls, we log into it every single day. I have a platform that I use. They're all WordPress. I have a platform that I use that manages the plugins for all the sites, keeps them up to date. That's the biggest thing. The biggest thing with me when you talk about security is I get customers that have their sites get hacked. It happens all the time. There are bots out there that all they're doing is looking for vulnerability in PHP files, and it's amazing how quickly a site can get hacked. So I've got a lot of safeguards on there. None of the sites that I have on that program have been hacked, but sites that I've produced and then handed off to customers definitely have been hacked.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, the reason I wanted to bring that up on the call is you and I are going to start working together, but I like your program because it complements the clients that are in the 10X Business Owners Mastermind group, where they're in that startup phase, but not quite yet over $250,000, $300,000 a year. Right. And for $543 you get a website, and it's taken care of, and it's maintained, and it's secure. It's a really good barrier to entry. You and Alan should really connect. You guys could be really good networking partners, because Alan doesn't do web design, right? But he does all the technology, and he can. Mouse Call is not just Tennessee. They have the ability to support clients all over the country. So, Alan, why don't you two exchange phone numbers? Just put your phone numbers in the chat window there, and then you guys can have them.
I'm not logged in.
Oh, okay. The 530-222-9898, right?
Yes.
And then Alan, what's your phone number?
615-579-1150.
615-579-1150. Okay, cool. So I'd highly recommend you guys reach out. You guys can be really good referral partners, because you both have a lot of clients that are pretty much each other's clients, potentially. Okay?
Right.
And you guys can grow your revenues really well that way. For all of you others that are listening to the recording, definitely I would reach out to both of these guys for any of your technology needs. And what we're going to be looking for next month, on the third Monday of next month, is we want to start talking about stuff that you guys are interested in. So send an email to bdm@johnpyron.com. So BDM, Business Development Manager, BDM@johnpyron.com, and give us your technology challenges, problems, topics, things that you want to hear about, and we'll make sure that we address it either in the Facebook group or on live call. So with that said, everybody have a great week, and we'll talk to you guys later. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.